We finally got it. Yes, we finally got that large drop to the downside that we were ready and waiting for on Bitcoin. But with this large drop, I am not here to celebrate. I am here to actually prepare you for the next large move to come. Because this for me just provides even more opportunities. So we are not going to get ahead of ourselves. We are going to focus together today on the charts, why I am currently still looking for lower. I'm going to be explaining to you where, and why the higher term time frame bearish bias still remains intact, and I still remain with the same focus, to be honest with you. And again, I'll be explaining exactly where I'm looking for next inside of this video to you. So I want to pick up where I left off my last Bitcoin analysis for you on YouTube. And that was, of course, talking you through why I had just shorted Bitcoin and why I was looking for a larger drop to come. At that time, we had just formed the swing failure pattern. If I show you on the chart, seems like a long time ago, right? I'm not doing that much YouTube updates anymore. I'm mainly just doing updates inside of the Champions membership. And if we remind ourselves back here, we'd just formed the swing failure pattern of the high and then the retests. On that retest here, we had formed very large bearish divergences. And then as we started to pull back here along this section of the chart, it's like I was analyzing the order flow and telling to the champion members, for me, the open interest that we're seeing here is very bearish. And this was an interesting one. It actually sparked a lot of good conversation because we were seeing a lot of longs opening. So if I just highlight to you, in this section, we were seeing a lot of longs open. And it's like I was telling my team, this is, in my opinion, very bearish. Why? A lot of people are under the standing of, if we're seeing a lot of longs opening, that's good, right? That's, bullish. But I'm basically bringing this to like a bit of a market maker's way of thinking, that if we're seeing a lot of longs opening, the context of the market is bearish. I've been telling you, I've been higher term time frame bearish on Bitcoin for the past month. This has not changed. This was before that large drop that we saw, reminding you over on Twitter, right? I remain bearish. I predict we will make another monthly low, right? Everything from my technical analysis is telling me that we will go lower. So from me, the signs were here for that drop. And we saw, with all the technical analysis pointing bearish, so many longs opening. So for me, that's why I refer to them as like the crazy longs, not correctly reading the market. Of course, I could have been wrong, right? I could have been wrong and we got a very large pump to the upside. And then, I would have held up my hands and say, hey, I got that wrong. But we can see we did get that play out. The short did play out. Of course, the next video after this was explaining why I was expecting another large drop on XRP. Of course, that drop on XRP came too. But yeah, here focusing on Bitcoin, the signs were there. That's all I'm going to say. The signs were there. And, I've been very transparent about my bias of why it was bearish, why I was expecting lower. And, now that's came, I want to explain, what I'm looking for next. There's one very quick 30-second thing that I'd like to explain. And that is this large drop, how it went through every level that we had. And I would just like to play you this quick 10-second clip for you so you can fully understand. And we know if we lose this low, then yeah, really I really wouldn't be surprised to see $24,000. We have obviously got some levels where we can be of interest, but I wouldn't be surprised to see $24,000. And so this was taken from a daily morning live stream update. Every day for the Champions members, we have a live stream updating them on the market. And this was a very good timing of this one, right? Before the drop, I was explaining to my team while still trading around there at 29,000. While I really am not going to be surprised if we go straight to 24,000. As you can see, there's a lot of levels there, right? We had a lot of levels prior to 24K. But for me, the context of the market, looking at the order flow and just realizing that, again, I want to always remind you of this. Just because we have a lot of levels, okay, just because we have a lot of levels doesn't that mean that they equal strong support or that we are going to trade them. The context of where we are and where we are coming from is important. So that is why I class none of those levels as strong, and why I said I wouldn't be surprised for a quick move down through it all to $24,000 one day prior to us hitting $24,000 the next day. We're trading at $29,000 at that time. And even though we have a lot of levels, we're not going to be surprised to see that large move down to hit 24K. And we can see that played out very nicely. I protected a lot of champions there as we got that quick move down to 24K. So I've done enough explaining of what we've looked at in the past, how we got down to here, how that played out. So now I want to move on to what we're looking at next. And, we've seen a large move down, but let's stay focused on the charts and prepare ourselves for the next large move, right? So let's zoom in a little bit at what we're currently seeing here. I'd like to just do two very quick announcements for you all, and that is the first, of course, if you want my higher term time frame bias, the Elliott wave counts, and more in-depth, precise lower term time frame setups. Of course, you can get all of that via the Champions live stream, which I covered yesterday. And the final, last one that I want to mention here is the man, the myth, the legend, Igor has returned. He's obviously been away on holiday, but he is back with us all. So you have the full team of coaches back and fully active. All of us have taken the holidays of this year. So now you got myself, Igor, Rivalry, and Sevron absolutely fully focused for you all, analyzing the markets every single day of the week. So yeah, that's a lot of good news as we start to look towards the end of the month and the next big opportunity. So here I'm going to stick on the 1 hour chart. Actually, I'm going to start here on the 4 hour chart and just zoom in ever so slightly. I'm going to add on a very important NPOC that I'm looking at slightly below us. Okay, so here we can see this NPOC coming in at around $24,851. This NPOC is found via the latest EXO template that I have released on the website. So this NPOC there at 24,851, I really like this NPOC because of the way it lines up with our third touch setup. This is another strategy that we teach. But this lines up with our third touch setup as well as a Coinbase. If you notice, the Coinbase low is ever so slightly different. So it lines up with Coinbase lows. It lines up with the CME actually potentially coming down to take its low from the 15th of June. And then, of course, Bybit itself coming down to hit that NPOC. So that's my next level of real big interest to the downside. Of course, locally, we have the simple sideways range from low to high. So we have our simple sideways range, which is absolutely more than acceptably tradable. We can see the respect of the middle of the channel is just absolutely lovely. But we got that in its smaller internal range, moving on to the larger level of the naked point of control below us. Then, of course, it's a free fall to the downside from there. This is our last level of support. It is a nice level, I'm not going to lie, but it's our last level before really a very, very large move down. But yeah, no, we're not going to get too carried away here, right? Above us, I'm very interested in the CME chart because of the CME gap that formed on Friday. So for me, of course, we just looked at that mini range high, which fits in nicely with this CME gap. So we got two very big CME gaps to be aware of, right? We got this one down at $20,000 and we got that one above us now sits at around $27,000. So the way that I'm approaching this market right now is very similar to I have for the rest of the month and the month before that, right? I still remain higher term time frame bearish, still remain in my short trades because I've not seen a single sign of strength. Some might argue this long wick is a sign of strength. For me, it's not. I've not longed this wick. Okay, so what I'm waiting for now is patience. Okay, I'm remaining patiently, or as we refer to it as patiently, because we get paid via this patience. And I'm waiting for the next setup to come to me. Right now, from my perspective and analysis, this is a little bit of a gamble situation. I could punt along here, I could punt a short here. It's a bit of a 50-50. So I would wait to, preferably, of course, see a drop to the downside. Let's see if we can test the NPOC. Or a rise to the upside. I'm comfortable to see that. Which my interest would be if we get this rise, what really goes on here at the CME gap. And if we can fill that gap, then yeah, that's going to be our first initial sign of strength. But of course, if we reject at it again, that's another compounding short trade opportunity. So that's the way that I'm approaching the market currently on a lower term time frame. I still have my higher term time frame bias and perspective. Okay, that's not changed yet. then I start to look at the lower term time frame. That's where I'll analyze things such as the order flow, right? So you can see back on the 10th, telling my team, "Hey, we're just seeing crazy amount of longs opening. Look at the open interest. Look at the delta. Look at the CVD." So I'm looking at the lower term time frame order flow, bringing that to a higher term time frame bias, with a mixed in with a little bit of range theory, to provide me my next best trading opportunity, which for me right now would be the NPOC, to be honest with you. Okay. Alternatively, I'm happy if we do get that rise, and if we do, I'm looking for that CME gap reaction. Where, as always, when we approach these CME levels, when we approach these NPOCs, I will be reviewing the order flow and making an informed decision at the time. So, of course, this is a potential long opportunity. Just as I had a potential long opportunity back down here on Thursday of a potential swing failure pattern of the swing failure pattern. Okay, so when we hit those levels, I need to make an informed decision. As we hit that level, I updated my team. This would have been back on the, just before that drop, as we were coming down for that potential SFP of the SFP. I'm telling my team, as we hit that level, not long in here, I'm going to remain looking for lower prices. And of course, naturally, we started to come down. And then from here, 27,500 to 24,000 very quickly indeed, right? So what I'm trying to get across to you here is, please remind yourself, as always, don't get emotional, don't get stressed. If you took a big loss on this, I feel for you, but you have to come back even stronger again, right? You need to revise what went wrong. What did you miss? What was some key information that you missed? Maybe it was the bearish divergences. Maybe it was the SFB. Maybe it was, blindsided by trying along too many swing failure patterns potentially, right? So if you made some mistakes, try and review it yourself. And if you'd like help on that, then of course the Champions membership, you can see what I was looking for and why I did not, long that second SFP of the SFP, for example, and how that comes together to then provide, your bias, your opportunities, and why you remain patient for the next best trade setup. So, final words for me will be, if you want to see more from myself, if you want to see more from the team, you can obviously get that over via chartchampions.com. That's where we got the trading updates. It's where we got the whole educational library. Of course, we do now live trading. So if you want to see live trading, dedicated altcoin live streams, we're adding new features to the website regularly, and, a lot of happy champion members, of course, with the calls that we've been given. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's made sense. If you want to get more in depth, you know where to get it, chartchampions.com. I want to wrap up here. I'm just going to say thank you ever so much. On the next video, I might cover XRP again. Let me know what you'd like to see in the comments down below. I'm going to say there, thank you ever so much. Cheers, everybody. And that's me signing out. Goodbye.